Welcome to the Flying S Podcast, bringing City Hall to your headphones. Your go-to source for community news, events, and stories straight from your local Sydney government. I'm Brittany King.
And I'm Andrew Bowser. And every other Friday, we'll bring you what's happening in our hometown and local government. Fast, factual, and focused.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Flying S Podcast. I'm sorry. I looked up and Dan's like...
So excited. So excited to be here.
This is exactly how we're going to start this episode.
Right.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Flying S Podcast. I have Andrew here.
Hello.
Hi. We also have Dan Gutman from Sidney Alive with us.
Hello. Oh, wow. Yay. Thank you for the applause.
Yes. Cheers for Dan Gutman.
Cheers for so Sidney Alive.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. More for Sidney Alive.
Welcome to the Flying S Podcast.
Yeah, thanks. It's so good to be here.
Yeah.
Very excited to be on the show.
You're our first community partner guest.
Yeah. So. I've been listening. I was just listening to Dwayne's episode this morning. So yeah, it's really cool. I love that you're doing this. Lots of good information, and hopefully I can contribute to some of that today.
We know you will. We know you will.
Well, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, about Sidney Alive, and what exactly Sidney Alive does?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up here, was born and raised in Sydney, lived outside of the state and then outside of the community for a little while. We just moved back last year from Lima. And so it's good. It feels like coming home in a lot of ways, which is it's great. And so our kids love it here. My wife also grew up in Sydney, and she has continued to teach at Sydney High School even when we were away and outside of the community. So it's been great to be back, and really great to come back in this role with Sidney Alive. In ways that contribute back to this community that has given so much to us too. So I've been active in lots of ways in the community, right, throughout the years. And one of the cool things I've gotten to do was host or announce the Winter Wonderland Parade for several years.
Yeah,
and I knew that we were looking for a change. We were looking to come back home and to the area. And so after the Winter Wonderland Parade, I mentioned to Amy, my predecessor, Amy Brynick, that we were looking to maybe come back to the community. And she said, this feels like fate because our events coordinator just finished her last day today. And I think this would be a great fit for you. And so we talked for a while. It took a couple of months of meeting and working through all the details. And so eventually I accepted that position, and it was a great fit. I loved doing it, and I still get to do a lot of those roles and aspects of that job in my current position as the executive director now. But shortly after I came, Amy announced she was leaving, and I'm like, how am I going to do this, right? How am I going to do this without her? Because so much, she started Sidney Alive, right? Yeah. And so much of Sidney Alive was wrapped up in her, and a lot of her was wrapped up in it. She became known as Downtown Amy, right?
Right.
And as much as she hated that nickname, she'll hate that I said it now. But she had achieved and accomplished so much for downtown. The growth that I saw just in the 5 years that we were outside of the community and we were away was just remarkable, incredible. And I had no idea how I could possibly begin to fill those shoes. And so she was great. She was so encouraging. The board was really encouraging. They helped along the way. I started as interim director, maybe thinking that someone else would come along and fill the job. And then by December, the board came and said, you know what, we've got every confidence that you can do this. And so if you want it, it's yours. And I did some soul searching, some discernment, and I thought, you know what, I think we can do this. And so we have hit the gate running. Like we are off and away, and it's been a wild adventure, but it's been great so far.
No, absolutely. I remember the board conversations, right? And it wasn't a very tough decision, but we were.
You didn't know me well yet.
Yeah. We were thankful that you were on board at the
Yeah.
right time. Obviously, the city owes a debt of gratitude to Amy and all the work that she did to get us where we are. Everything that we're about ready to talk about really had a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears from Amy.
Absolutely.
She was part of the reason why, actually, my family and I came here. She was one of the first community leaders that we met. And short story here, but she's the one that actually made sure that we found a building for our business in the downtown. That's where
right.
Sidney Alive used to be. So
That's right.
I can't mention my story without the great work that Amy has done. And I will be forever grateful for her and her friendship. And so I wish her well. She's now in Troy doing big things. And so kudos to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And to be honest, I mean, Amy was very transparent in those conversations that she was ready to move on, right? And that she hoped that whoever would fill that events role would step into the director role. And so I knew that was on the horizon sometime. I just didn't know
How quickly it was coming up.
How quickly, yeah, that she would find something that connected with her and that she would move on. And so, but yeah, no, it's been great and grateful for her and also for her friendship throughout the years and all of the encouragement that she offered to get me to this place.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Amy, for setting it up for success.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about Sidney Alive.
Yeah. Sidney Alive is a nonprofit organization rooted here in the heart of downtown Sydney. And our mission is pretty simple. We want to revitalize and enrich our downtown district by cultivating connection, creativity, and community pride. And so we do that in several ways, right? We do that through events, through partnerships and collaborations, through beautification projects and business support. And all of that kind of works together to hopefully create a place where people want to be and hang out. So in 2024 alone, we hosted over 25 events downtown.
Wow.
Supported over 60 market vendors and coordinated the installation of 40 new flower pots that maybe you've seen downtown.
And they are very pretty.
They are very pretty. Absolutely. I'm sure we'll talk more about those later. And I don't know how many new trash cans, but there are new trash cans out there too. So basically, if you've ever been to the farmer's market or the Winter Wonderland Parade, if you've ever enjoyed live music on the square or the flowers blooming downtown, you have likely experienced the work of Sidney Alive, whether you knew that was us or not. We're here to make sure downtown Sydney remains and continues to grow into the vibrant, welcoming heart of our community that we all want it to be.
That was so well said.
Thank you. I brought notes.
Well done.
Well, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about the events? Because I know you're right in the middle of event season.
We are, yeah. In fact, this coming weekend, not to you all listening, but for us here in the pre-recorded podcast room, is the Downtown Put Around. And so by the time you hear this, it will be over, and maybe we'll all be talking about what a huge success it was and that the weather was cooperative. But if you've ever been downtown for one of our events, then you've seen the kind of firsthand magic of a community coming together and coming to life. Maybe my favorite example of that is the Winter Wonderland Parade, right? It's already a magical time of year. And when you add all of the downtown lights and all the parade entries, it's really something special. And that event usually draws in over 3,000 people. I mean, thousands of people are downtown lining the streets for that parade. And every entry in the parade, whether it's a marching band or giant float, has some kind of light display in it, right? The theme every year is a parade of lights. And so, yeah, it's just a really magical event and time of year.
Yeah, I love that parade. I was in it. Excuse me. I was in it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I was a cheerleader and I did guard in the band. So
that's awesome.
It was fun being in it, but it's fun watching it too, because now I see my nieces and nephews in it.
Yeah, right.
So it's fun to like go and watch them and reminisce about me being in it.
Right. Yeah, it's really cool to see the community coming together for something like that. And that's probably the most enduring thing that we've done, right, for Sidney Alive. And it wasn't always us, right? That event pre-exists Sidney Alive. We just have the great privilege of taking that over. Of course, the first day of the farmers market, our Spring Street Fair, also brings down thousands of folks to downtown. And that usually includes our regular market vendors, craft vendors, local businesses providing free kids activities, local performers providing live music. And so that's always fun. But truly, these events aren't just about fun. They generate real economic impact, increase foot traffic, and hopefully they support our local businesses. And so I think what's truly amazing about these events is that so many of them are run by volunteers, right? People who love this community and who want to help it shine.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of organizations, even us in general with our parks department, those volunteers do so much for the community. And if we didn't have them, then half of the projects wouldn't get done in the parks.
Oh, absolutely. We have 3 people in our office, right? 2 full-time and 1 part-time. And so that is definitely not enough manpower to accomplish all the things that get accomplished throughout the year. And so we could not do it without our board members, our committee members, and volunteers.
And I think, adding to that, and especially talking about the topic specifically about the Spring Street Fair and the farmers market, I've lived in a lot of different areas. The Army kind of moved me around and certainly grew up in the Central Ohio market. I have never seen such a commitment to the downtown, number one, but never seen such a great farmers market before.
Yeah.
I mean, vendors and artists literally around the square. And it's not just for the opening, which, by the way, was extremely successful.
Yeah.
But it's every single week. And as we continue to go into summer, there's going to be more and more fresh fruits and vegetable vendors that are going to show up. Obviously, it's growing season right now. But I am just elated every single time I get to have the pleasure to look out my bedroom window, and I get to see it every single Saturday morning. Just an absolutely great job. And I know that the farmers market has been around for a while, but I don't know anybody that does it better.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, so the market runs every Saturday from the end of May until mid-October. We are hosting unique vendors throughout the season, right? We average, if I had to guess, maybe anywhere between 500 to 1,000 people every single week. And many come for that fresh produce, homemade baked goods, flowers, local art. There's so many. We have a variety of vendors, right? Some who are there for the whole season, others who sign up for weekly permits, either as their schedule allows or as produce and product becomes available. But I honestly, I think it's probably the best thing that we do.
Yeah.
Anytime I encounter someone from outside our community and I tell them I'm from Sidney, or I tell them that I work for Sidney Alive, they always say that we have the best farmers market in the region. And I believe that. Right?
Well, I've had people tell me that it rivals larger cities. Like they've been to farmers markets in Colorado and ours is better than that one.
Yeah.
And, in those bigger cities, you would expect to have what we have here in Sidney.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It certainly rivals larger cities. It is the best in the area that you're going to find. And part of that is because our downtown is set up so well for that, right? We have plenty of space downtown. We have plenty of parking, even though I know that can be a contentious issue sometimes for people. I like what you say, Andrew, right? We have a sightline
Visibility
issue.
problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is a visibility problem, not a parking problem. I used to say it was a walking problem, but really it's all about visual cues, right?
Yeah.
There is an we actually have too much parking in and around the 9-block area downtown. But if you're not sitting there visually seeing where the entry door you're at, all of a sudden you feel like you're a bit lost and you don't know where the parking is. That's where a lot of the wayfinding signs that I know that the city and Sidney Alive are working on to sort of usher and roll out. We've already got the designs. Shout out to Bear Design, also in the downtown, that are going to now usher in, hopefully, that better visibility. But I know we're going to get talking about sort of the 2023 placemaking, and also talk about, some of the programming and products that were put into the downtown to talk about that also helped enhance that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reality is if you go out to Walmart, you're going to walk just as far, if not farther, than if you park behind Courtview Center and walk over to the farmer's market, right?
Yeah.
The problem is there's a building between you and the market and where you're heading, right? Or wherever you're going downtown. And so I agree. We've got plenty of parking. And that the proof of that is like in the Spring Street Fair that just occurred, right? We had thousands of people downtown for that all at once.
Yeah.
And no one had an issue, right? Everyone got there. Right? No one had to park miles away,
Right.
Right? We have the ability to support that kind of volume, and so yeah, I think it's a great thing that we do. If you haven't been lately, come check it out. We'd love to see you downtown for the farmers market. If you're interested in setting up for the farmers market, contact Kristen in our office. She heads all of that up. We'd love to find a spot for you. One thing I do want to mention about the farmers market is that we even have some vendors who accept senior nutrition vouchers, which is maybe one of the coolest aspects of that and of what we do. So again, I can't say enough about the farmers market.
So after talking about the farmers market, and obviously we've talked about, and you alluded, right? The downtown is absolutely set up correctly.
Yeah.
It's majestic.
Yeah.
The courthouse is beautiful. The county has done a phenomenal job of upkeeping its buildings.
Yeah.
Even off the main part of the square, like the jail or the annex building. Talk about some of the other things of why our downtown matters and what makes it so great.
Yeah. Well, a downtown is more than just buildings and sidewalks and those things, right? I think it is the soul of a city, right? When people feel connected to their downtown, they feel connected to the whole community. And so Sidney Alive exists because we believe in that connection. When a downtown thrives, so does everything around it. And so that's why we pour so much energy into making sure that downtown Sidney feels alive, because it is the heartbeat of our hometown. And so when we talk about like some of those beautification efforts specifically, right? Some of the most visible work we do comes in the form of beautification. Things like the flower pots, benches, the arches, the alley lights, right? The things that make downtown feel loved and cared for, just what you're saying, right? I cannot express enough how many people it takes to make our downtown look the way it looks, right? I mean, Dan and Chris do a great job at the county, but beyond the courthouse, then that leaks into the city's responsibility,
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have all of our volunteers, and so it really is a communal effort, and all of the things that we do toward those efforts are fully funded by private donations to our downtown revitalization fund.
Let's repeat that one more time.
Yes. All of those efforts are fully funded by private donations to our downtown revitalization fund. So what that means is not a penny of tax dollars was spent on those arches, right? Or on the alleyway lights or on the flower pots or trash cans, right? Those are branded with the Sidney community brands, but all of those things were paid for by privately donated funds. And so again, what that means is not only the volunteers and all of the people that make things look pretty or maintain, but even the things that are going in, the new things, right? Those are made possible through our community, people in our community, right? Through their funds. And so we've had private individuals, private corporations have all donated to make that possible, which is just incredible. And speaking of those flowers, this year, normally we do a flower workshop, right? Mm-hmm. Where you plant one for yourself and then you plant one for downtown, and that's how those get paid for. This year with the new flower pots coming, it got so tight that we were really worried that we weren't going to have time to coordinate all of that. And so Crossway Farms, who we work with to do that flower shop, they said, you know what if this year we just donate all of those flowers, which is incredible because we doubled the amount of flower pots downtown, and the flower pots are bigger than they used to be. So, so it was a huge donation. And not just that, but they showed up the Thursday before our first farmers market so that they would be out there and look beautiful for the Spring Street Fair just days before they hosted a family wedding on their farm.
Wow.
So Thursday night, they're out here with their trailer planting those pots to make sure it looked beautiful when they were also trying to get ready for a giant wedding out there.
Well, and
their
that just
farm.
describes of how the community works together.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've noticed about working in Sydney is everybody is a partner.
Yeah.
Everybody works as the same team to make these things happen. So seeing the businesses or seeing the volunteers come out, I think is wonderful to see. And you don't see that a lot in some other cities.
Yeah, that's right. I think that these are the kinds of commitments and partnerships that we're so proud of, right? Beautification isn't just about how downtown looks, right? It's about how it feels and the pride that it stirs up in us. I am proud to be from Sydney. When I look at our downtown, I am proud of how it looks, and I want to invite people to come and check it out, right? And I hope that you who are listening also feel that community pride, right? It's about making a place that you actually want to be in and making it feel safe and comfortable for everyone.
Well, and I think, you think about people who are asking, what is there to do in Sydney? We see that question all the time, especially on Facebook.
Yeah.
This is what you can do. There are plenty of organizations like Sidney Alive who provide free activities for people to come and do. And there are some paid aspects of it if you want to buy something at the farmer's market. But, other than that, almost every single weekend there's something going on during the summer because of what Sidney Alive is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the really great thing about our job is that it doesn't have to just be us, right? We get to collaborate and coordinate with everyone, right? We work closely with the City of Sydney, with local schools, with the Shelby County Health Department, with the Chamber of Commerce, with SSEP, and other area nonprofits like United Way or Veteran Services or Gateway Arts Council or the Sydney Theater. Right?
Yeah.
We have
The library.
list goes on
right.
and
It's
on.
just the list goes on and on. Exactly right. And so these partnerships help us to do all of those things and to provide opportunities for families and for citizens of Sydney to have things to do, to have opportunities for education and connection to resources. I think, for example, the National Night Out, right, is one where we partner with the Sydney Police Department, with the Sydney Fire Department, other local agencies to create a free, family-friendly event with live demonstrations, with games and information booths, all that highlight the services that are available in our community. And so it's not about Sidney Alive doing everything, right? It's about Sidney Alive helping everything come together.
Yeah, you're really the facilitator of the downtown.
Yeah.
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 And since you brought up public safety, and since we talked about and given a huge thank you to Crossway Farms, which they absolutely deserve, I do want to recognize and say thank you to our own Sydney Fire and Emergency Services.
Oh, man.
They're out there, especially in this extreme heat. A couple of days each week, and even sometimes on the weekends, out there making sure that those flowers don't die. Right?
Yeah,
They're out
that's
there
right.
watering it. And there was an agreement that I made with Chief Hollinger at the time. They needed a new off-road ATV vehicle to help with, off-road rescue, things in the parks, stuff like that. They purchased a water container for that. And so I know several of the guys have taken turns to come out during the day to make sure that they're watered so the roots of the flowers continue to grow deep until it gets into that basin and things like that. But huge thank you to them. I know that they've been sweating bullets out there.
That's right. So that has been a huge help for us at Sidney Alive because that was our job before the fire department took it on. And it is a huge help. Every time we see them out there, we're like, thank you for taking this on. And I hope that you will too. If you're driving by or something, you see them honk, wave, tell them thank you because they really are. They're making it possible to make downtown even more beautiful, right? Even more colorful than it was before. And we could not do that without them.
Yeah, thank you. And please do that. They appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that leads us into just talking about volunteerism and leadership. Obviously, Sidney Alive doesn't run on its own. Last year, we engaged more than 150 volunteers across all of our events and projects. And so we have event chairs and co-chairs for every major event. Of course, we have other committees and a board of directors where people can get involved. And so whether someone wants to help out for an hour or if they want to serve on a committee, we want to make space for people to plug in. And so if you've been wondering maybe how you can get involved or make a difference, you can go to our website, SidneyAlive.org, and submit your info under the volunteer section. We would love to have you and to partner with you to make our community better.
Perfect. And we can put that link out there too. So then it's a direct way for people to sign up if they would like to.
Absolutely. And we're always looking to partner with other organizations and local businesses. And so if you've got an event that you're putting on downtown, or if you're a downtown business or organization that's holding an event, you can put that on our website. We'll make sure it gets added to our calendar. We will talk about it and promote it on social media and on the radio and all of those fun things. And so just go to SidneyAlive.org/events and you can submit your events there too.
And you can find a list of those events each week on our city manager newsletter also, because we use your calendar to fill up our small calendar at the end of that so that people can see, oh, well, that's coming up. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of National Night Out, let's talk about this year's National Night Out. When can somebody expect to do that? When do they bring the kiddos out? And when is it going to happen downtown?
I love National Night Out because it happens on a weekday, unlike so many of our other events, right, that usually happen on the weekends. So National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th, and it runs from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. It is a completely free event. So you can come down anytime between those hours on that day. If you are a business that is hoping to get involved with that, right? Like I said, we have businesses that come down and set up free games and stuff, activities for the kids. Contact us through the website and we'll make sure that you can be a part of that too.
Awesome.
And I know our departments love this event because the fire department will bring out a hose for the kids to try to spray. And then they have this cute little house that has fire in the windows that kids can try to spray out with the hose.
Yeah.
And then the police department last year, they set up like a
obstacle course.
Mm-hmm. With Nerf guns and stuff. And it was, really neat to see and watch the kids do that. And I think, it gives that good one-on-one time with specifically the children with safety services, because that's the age group that needs to become familiarized with our safety services.
Absolutely.
And, be able to trust them.
Yeah. And it doesn't just stop with Sidney. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the sheriff himself has been out every year that I've been here. I know Agape is out there. And so
EMA is out there.
It is a total event that really does bring the community together. And it is so good to see so many people out on the lawn there on the weekday.
Yeah, this year we're even including a blood drive truck.
Oh, cool.
So it's really great. We want families to feel like downtown belongs to them too. And that's why so many of our events are designed to be family friendly. During our fall festival, the last farmers market in October, we have a costume contest and trick or treat around the square. Again, that draws hundreds of kids and families every single year. And when kids have a positive experience downtown, they grow up with a sense of ownership and belonging, right? And so when families know that they have a safe, engaging place to gather, it strengthens the whole community.
So we've talked about some of, the really popular events and everything, but what else do you guys have going on for the rest of the year? What kind of events?
Yeah, so for the rest of the year, up next will be our fall fundraiser, which in the past has been the open air dinner. We are looking at revamping that, making that a little more accessible to folks, still keeping with the theme of the farm to table idea, but we're still working out the details, so stay tuned for that. Of course, we've mentioned the fall festival, but part of that is the chocolate walk that happens on Friday night.
Love the chocolate walk.
Which is so great. Who doesn't love a place? It's basically adult trick or treat.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
With even better candy, really good chocolate.
And Dora.
Yeah, and Dora. That's right. That's right. We have not talked about Dora.
We have not. Maybe touch on that real quick.
Yes.
Dan, tell us what Dora stands for.
Yeah, so Dora stands for the Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area, which is a significant chunk of our downtown, right? It's basically around the 9 blocks that surround the courthouse, and including the courthouse. And so it's an opportunity where you can go into a business that has the Dora logo on the outside. They will put your drink in a special Dora cup so that we know that you got it from one of them. And then you could walk around that whole area. You take your drink from place to place. And so any business, in fact, that has a Dora sticker, that means that you can bring your drink inside that establishment.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity for open sort of adult alcoholic beverages to be consumed within the 9-block area. So like last week we had, the orchestra that was out there on the lawn. And I know a lot of people went to a lot of the businesses. They were able to get their drinks and then take it back over there and be able to enjoy them and the live music.
Yeah. It's great for those larger festivals, for those big events, or even just an evening out in downtown.
Absolutely.
Well, and I do want to clarify, you have to purchase these from an establishment that has the Dora sticker.
That's right.
You can't bring your own in to pour into the cup.
No, you cannot bring a cooler downtown. No. Camp out on the courthouse.
I see that question quite a bit, so I thought it was important to address that and let people know you have to physically go into an establishment to get your Dora drink.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, actually, the establishments have wristbands for the specific day to put on you as well, not just the cup.
Yeah.
And those establishments actually purchase the cups from Sidney Alive. It's almost like a fundraiser as well for Sidney Alive. They purchase the cups and then they serve them to you. And there's two different types of cup. There's really sort of a larger one that's for beer and another one for cocktails and wine.
Yep, that's right. It's a great thing that our community has available and offers to folks if they want to participate in that. So the Chocolate Walk is a great event that leads into the next day, the final farmers market of the year on October 11th. And then after that, we have the Grand Illumination, which is when all the Christmas lights come on, and Winter Wonderland Parade that we've already talked about. And then at the beginning of the year, what really kicks us off is the Easter egg hunt on the square, which is a really cool event. Oh my gosh, so many people showed up, even in between the raindrops this year. we got soaked out there, quite honestly, setting things up, but people still showed up, and it was a great event. And so there are all kinds of events. Those are the events that we are in charge of, but there are all kinds of events that happen downtown that we are not in charge of, that we help promote or facilitate. I like to talk about the Porch Fest that just happened. Tom Clark came to us with an idea. And not just us, he went to Gateway Arts and several other different organizations and said, could we do this? Right? Is it possible? And fortunately, everyone said, yeah, let's try it. Right? Let's give it a shot. And so he had the idea of shutting down North Miami Street from North to Lane Street, right there in front of the library. And there are some really cool historic houses there along that way. And so we set up bands there. We brought in food trucks. Sidney High School was there doing some art projects. We had a balloon artist. It was a really cool event that we didn't have to be in charge of, which is really great for us on our end, right? So we love when folks from the community or other businesses or organizations want to do something, right? They have an idea and maybe they need a little added support to be able to pull it off. We love getting involved with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of what you're talking about, obviously, it felt like maybe for a bit that Sidney Alive was maybe stretched a little too thin. And as city manager, I get the pleasure of getting to serve on the board with Sidney Alive. And I think there was a lot of conversation about, okay, where is our inefficiencies? Where can we pare down to make Sidney Alive better and do the types of events that people were looking for that are really successful within the downtown? And I think that's what you're talking about, right? Yeah. It's like within your leadership, it's taking a hard look sometimes of what's working, what's not working, and where can we grow? Yeah,
because we all have those events that we love, right? And that we love to do and participate in, but
we can't serve everyone. I'm sure you get questions and comments all the time, like, why can't we have this event or this event or this event? Bring this one back. And it's hard, right? It takes people power and volunteerism and servant leadership and money, and that's all those things are more and more finite as we continue to go along. And I feel like in this current era or political climate that we're currently in, And that's tough. And I think that goes also back to just supporting the local businesses, because it's certainly drain of resources on them to constantly be evolving and trying to plan for the next event when they're still running businesses.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everybody, like there are lots of good ideas out there, right? There are lots of things that might be fun or interesting, but we have to run that through the filter of our mission. And are the things that we're doing, are they meeting that mission? And if they're not, then we have to look at those things and say, okay, how could we adjust these so that they do fit the mission better, or do they just need to go away? And if somebody else wants to pick that up and run with it, great. If it fits their mission and what they're about, awesome. It's still a cool thing to do, right? But for us, for Sidney Alive, I think it's really about. It's not just about supporting local businesses. That's a huge part of it, right? There's placemaking and all these other things that we do that help make downtown feel like home. But supporting our downtown businesses is a huge part of it. And honestly, I think this is probably the part of our job that I think we could improve the most on, if I can be really candid about that. I want Sidney Alive to be the leading resource for anyone seeking to open a business in downtown, and then to remain as a helpful and vital resource once those businesses have opened, right? Like, it takes a lot of collaboration to make a downtown successful. And we've all been working in our own little silos, I think, for too long. And so that, for me, when I stepped into this position as the executive director, that's where I saw the most opportunity. And there were some other transitions that were happening in other organizations at the same time. And I thought, now is the time, right? And fortunately, maybe it's because some of us are new to our roles and we're a little freaked out that we're all really open to collaboration, right? We're like, yes, I need you, right? Let's work together. Let's see what we can accomplish together, because the reality is we can do more together than we can apart. And so this kind of support and collaboration is something that I would love to see grow. I think right now we do some things well. We promote businesses through our social media platforms with nearly 15,000 combined followers, right? That's not just people that we reach, but just followers alone. We help coordinate joint promotions like downtown sidewalk sales and restaurant and retail weeks and the holiday hop shop. Every business is part of the bigger picture. And when they thrive, it ripples out, right? It creates jobs. It improves our economy. It makes downtown feel like a destination. So for me, this is a top priority as we move forward, making sure Sidney Alive becomes and remains a valuable and vital resource for our downtown businesses.
Yeah, I love all that. I mean, that sentiment really resonates. And if you take sort of the reestablished branding for the state of Ohio, that Ohio is the heart of it all.
Yeah.
Well, without a successful heart, the body can't function.
That's right.
And if you take that on a local level for Sidney, Ohio, the beating heart is and will always be the downtown.
Absolutely.
And when we don't have thriving businesses and we don't have things that are programmed in events, then people are going elsewhere. Dollars are leaving, or they're going to more corporate entities that are maybe out on West Michigan. But we have to continue to prioritize downtown, because the trickle effect and the ability for that growth and momentum to basically leach out to the rest of the community is real. Yeah. And that is a proven best practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right now, we've got a group of young entrepreneurs who are really interested in doing more of this kind of work. And so, again, it's great because it doesn't have to be Sidney Alive doing all of that, right? And we can gain from the wisdom of the collective. And so I'm really excited about this. We've got some things in the works, and I'm really excited to see where all of this leads.
For sure.
I've been in conversations with the theater. We used to do a thing called the backstage block party. Mm-hmm. And those were free concerts that happened on the backside of the theater in the parking lot. And that seemed to really work well. And so we have a meeting next week with them to talk about how do we bring maybe something like that back in some capacity, in some way. And so, yeah, I'm really excited for the things that are coming down the pipeline. And really, really exciting things that I think are going to hopefully benefit Sydney, benefit our community, and again, make downtown a vital place where people want to be.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up the theater because it is such an unspoken gem.
That's the truth.
If you haven't been downtown in the last few years and not even been to it or anything like that, it's a Raise the Roof for the Arts. It's a nonprofit organization that went in. They spent over about $2.5 million on the renovations. There's still left things to do.
Oh, for sure.
Right? They have a big vision of what that theater can be.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about 800 to 900 people for an event.
Yeah.
You talk about activating and bringing people into the downtown. I mean, that is part of that soul.
Absolutely.
They have an energized board. They've got young staff that are incredible that are over there. Shout out to all of them and the work that they do every single day. I get to see the kiddos out there because they're doing a summer sort of concert theater series, and I love that they're downtown. I love that it's based around what they're doing. They're doing it for all the right reasons. I wish them the very best, and I know they're collaborating with the city and Sidney Alive and so many other organizations to continue to grow and thrive, and that's going to be exciting to watch here in the next future.
Yeah, they're doing so much too.
Well, and that's what I was going to, you talk about collaboration, and they do a fantastic job with that, especially with the schools. I know Lehman has their musical there every year, which is so nice because it's in the downtown and you can get dressed up to go to it, and it makes you feel like you're going to a big city theater, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, my kids were both in the theater camp these past couple of weeks. Luke was in the first one with the younger kids, and Sam was in the middle school one, and it was great. I was amazed what they were able to accomplish in 1 week. And there are a lot of kids. There are like 30, 40 kids up there on that stage, and I'm going, like, I wouldn't want to be in charge of that, right? But it was phenomenal. The show was great, and like you said, it provided an opportunity for us to like get dressed up and have a fun night out in downtown, and it was great.
That's great. Well, talking about the growth and development of downtown and the theater, and I know that the city's working hard with the theater on projects and maybe even an expansion plan and other investors within the downtown. And obviously, we've got a bevy of new businesses that are out there. And if you don't know what's down there and you haven't been in downtown, you should go walk it. Go take a look at what's going on. But one of the largest projects that's happening is the renovation and revitalization of the Ohio building.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this is a massive project, one that I'm so grateful someone was willing to take on, right? Like, I remember the Ohio building as a kid, and like my dentist was there, my orthodontist, my eye doctor. Like, it was a one-stop shop, right, for many of us growing up. And quite honestly, like, it was not in great shape then, even when it was still functional, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, shout out to Woodard Development for taking this on. I know that the project did not move as quickly as they thought it would, like most projects, right?
Yes,
that they got in there, and there was an 18-inch sag? Is
18
that right?
inches sag.
Yeah, the
on
before and
fifth floor.
after pictures of it right now. They're not even finished with it. They're like, halfway through or so?
No, they're going to start leasing here in August.
Oh,
actually,
okay.
yeah. So they're a little further behind than the last time that we talked to them, but they will start opening up a leasing office in July and August, and you will be able to walk through a unit on the first floor.
Yeah.
Now, the first floor will eventually have commercial retail space, right? They're talking to a bevy of different tenants that will potentially house down there. And then floors 2 through 5 will house 50 luxury apartments.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, it'll be really exciting. I think it's going to be a game changer for downtown, because talk about foot traffic. When you have people living downtown, and a lot of work has been done in the downtown, maybe you know or don't know that there are a lot of apartments above our storefronts, right? And so some of them have been rented out. Some of them are being turned into Airbnbs and that kind of stuff. But this will really be a game changer, I think, for our downtown. And then to have that commercial space on the bottom so that it's still accessible to the public. There used to be a really great restaurant called In Good Taste there on the first floor. Mm-hmm. Mandy and I had our first date there. Well, there's some contention about that, actually. She didn't know it was our first. I knew it was a date. She didn't think it was a date, but that's where it all started, in other words. And so it's just really cool to see that building come back to life. So many of us have memories of that.
Yeah.
And, they've been Woodard Development has been setting up occasionally next to us at the farmer's market, a little informational booth. And hopefully soon they'll be able to give some tours of that space. I told them, I think people are going to be really excited, even if they're not looking to rent an apartment, right? They just want to see what you've done with the building.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so great to see that kind of redevelopment, revitalization happening in our downtown.
Well, and Andrew, you have mentioned on plenty of occasions that Sidney does have a housing problem. And so the fact that we have developers coming in and bringing all of these housing opportunities is huge. And it's like you said, in the downtown is great because it's the walkability of downtown is you have restaurants, you have different activities that you can do in walking distance, which is wonderful.
Well, absolutely. And, development is in no small feat, especially when you talk about housing, right? And it's not enough to just have good bones within a community. I mean, that alone, that's tier one. But the next step is you have to actively be recruiting these individuals to tell them about your community, tell the story, and they want to know that they have a government that they can work with and maneuver through all the minutia of an entitlement process, like zoning and building departments and all these other things, where if you are not business friendly or business first, then your community is going backwards. And you really have to fight against that NIMBY culture, that not in my backyard culture. And that's not just for downtown, but that's across the city. And communities that embrace that culture, that says, we're going to put up a fence, we've got enough, don't worry about it. Those are the ones that are going to start the process of going backwards. Mm-hmm. And so I think we have a community that's on the rise. It's going to continue to go. We're going to continue to see fruits of the labor long after any of us are around. And I really feel like this is a really beautiful jewel that's going to be in the downtown. Those people are going to now be able to walk to all these shops and these restaurants. I think it's going to help all of those local businesses. It's going to help the theater. You're going to have people that are going to say, wow, I didn't know we could live downtown. I didn't know Sidney was thriving like this. And that's the problem. We have all these commuters that come into the community every single day that are choosing to live elsewhere, not because of choice, but because there wasn't housing being built or equitable housing within this community.
And that's 12,000 people, right, that are coming into our community every single day.
12,600, yes.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. There's only 200 or so that actually leave our community. So we have a nighttime population of 22,000. 200 only leave, and they're going elsewhere, whether that's maybe Honda or Airstream or somewhere outside of the community. So we're keeping all the employees here that are living here, plus we're taking in from the surrounding counties and the surrounding cities and villages also their residents, and they're working here in Sidney.
All right. Well, we have covered a lot in this episode. With parks, we had to break it up into two parts, but I feel pretty solid about this one.
Yeah.
So, Dan, how can people find information? Where can they look online to figure out what you guys are doing or get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is a great resource, sydneyalive.org. You can check out all of the events that are coming up there. If you want to be involved, click on that volunteer form and submit your information, and we'll get back with you. Of course, social media is a great outlet. Facebook, we try to promote everything that's happening downtown, whether it's us or not, and we do that through our stories. We do that for a couple of reasons. One, so that our whole feed doesn't just get bogged down because there's a lot that happens. But then also just kind of for ease and access for you all, right? So that you can just go to our page and just click through those stories and you should be able to see everything. If there's something that we missed, if you're a downtown business organization, you think, hey, they haven't shared this, please let us know, right? Send us a message on Facebook or send us an email, and we'll be sure that gets out there. But those are the best resources, right, for understanding, at least from our perspective, like what's happening and what's coming up.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's my privilege, and it's my privilege truly to serve in this role and in this capacity with Sidney Alive. And like I said earlier, to be able to give back to the community that I feel has given so much to me and to my family.
Well, Andrew, do you have any wise words to leave us with?
Always, but not today. I think Dan covered so many great topics. Sidney Alive is a great organization. I know that the downtown is a very bright future ahead, and thank you for your leadership downtown. Thank you for the individuals that helped lead that away. Shout out to Amy. I know is not around anymore, but I think you're doing great things, and you're making Sidney Alive yours. So thank you.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye.
Bye.